Okay, so we have here the data file, the wide format data file from an IAT that looks at gender, male, female, and considerateness, considerate, inconsiderate. And we have one row here per participant. We have a bunch of participants, so let's number them and let's split the screen so we can see all of them. So 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 41 participants. And then let's split the screen this way so we can move on the left and right independently. Now, the critical, so if you look at the top column right here, we have the order first, which says tells us whether the participant did block at either one of two particular orders. We have the response time here. That's important information. So we have the male-female block. That's block 1, and we have considerate inconsiderate block. That's block 2. This trial right here, the HTML is instructions. So for each block we have a initial instructions, a few practices, and then instructions that now is the time to do the real trials. Okay, now here we have one of the critical blocks, block 3, the male, considerate, female, inconsiderate, and we have our practice trials here, and then we have the real stuff here. So we're going to highlight that, and then we retrain with male, female, male rather than male, female, and then we have the other critical block, block 5, female considerate, male inconsiderate, and those are practice trials, and they're there, and then those are instructions, and then here we go for the real thing, so we're going to color that too. Okay, good. We're going to do the same thing for the error data. So let's see, male considerate, there we go, that's the real trials for block 3. There, and then there's the retraining, and here we go. Wait a minute, let's see, those are the practice trials. Okay, now the real trials for block 5. Okay, so now what do we want to do? I usually like to take the median response time because it's not so influenced by outliers in response time, and the mean error, so we get proportion of errors. So let's say median response times for block 3, and let's just put what that block actually is here. Male considerate, female inconsiderate, and then the other block is female considerate, male inconsiderate. Okay, and we'll put those over here, and we're also going to do mean errors. Okay, so once we do this, we can see that it's really easy to look at a particular participant's data and see, what are their response times like. This person is somewhere between 600 and 1,000 or so. We can sort of just scan down and see how unusual is that compared to other participants. So very easy capacity to compare across participants. and when it comes time to calculate our median response time, that becomes very easy. We just calculate the median across all those response times, and we paste it down to get median response times for everybody else. And now we'll do that for block 5. There we go, block 5. There we go, we have it for everybody. And then we want mean errors, average errors for there's errors, there's our block 3. And there we go. Paste that down for all the participants, and the mean errors for block 5 right there. Okay. That's cool. And now if we want to know the average of each one of these things, we can compute that. And you can see that in the male considerate condition, people took longer than the female considerate condition, which fits with our intuitions that it's harder to associate male with considerate than it is to associate female with considerate. And we can see that also people made more errors in the male considerate condition. Okay, so that's how we have the data now. And then critically, if we have any questions about one of these participants, say we have a question about this participant here, and we want to zoom back and look at their reaction time data. Or let's see, let's find something more interesting. Let's see, is there any sort of outlier here? Not particularly. Let's take a look at the min and max. Min, here's the min, the max. Was anybody just zooming through? And was anybody taking forever? Not really. This is a pretty good bunch of participants. But say we had one participant that was really taking very little time. We wanted to check if they were, if they just started randomly just responding and responding really quickly. We could, say we're worried about participant number 1. Maybe that was me testing the paradigm, and I just zoomed through and I forgot to take out my data. So we could just scan over here and we could take a look at all the response times for that participant. Or say if we're worried, was there one participant who started randomly responding and they all of a sudden started getting a lot of stuff wrong. So what if we looked near the end of the trials and we just sort of scanned down to see if anybody was doing really badly near the end, and we can pretty much immediately see that no, they weren't really. So this sort of micro level ability to go from the statistics, the summary statistics, back to the original data for an individual participant, I find really helpful, and I find it a lot harder to do that in long format. Also, this ability to, without any pivot tables, to calculate a formula and then apply it to every participant very easily. I really, really like that. And then, again, the ability to do that and then go back and check how each participant's data is relating to that formula. Like, what if I computed a mean response time and found something that was kind of high? I could very easily go back and see if there were any outlying data points for that participant. Okay, those are my thoughts.